Welcome to the Cycle Coach Show.
Empowering conversations on menstrual cycle coaching.
We're your hosts, Claire Baker
and Lauren Olivia Hughes. Today on the podcast, I am joined by Dayna Wilson. She is Soft and Flow on Instagram. She is a trained massage therapist, a pole dancer and teacher, and a certified menstrual cycle coach from Cycle Coach School. Welcome to the podcast, Dayna.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of
Very
course.
excited to be here.
I can't wait to get into everything, but I'd love to start with a little cycle day check-in. So what cycle day are you
Yep.
and how's it feeling so far?
So I am on cycle day 11 today, and I am feeling, I'm not feeling like I'm in cycle day 11. So that's around like my ovulation and coming up to like ovulation. But this is my fault because I've stacked so many things to do today and this week in general, which I think is quite common around this time. So I'm feeling like a tad overwhelmed, but I'm also really excited to be here as well. So I feel like good and energized about this, you know?
Yeah, and we will hopefully just like ease out of that overwhelmed feeling
Yeah.
very quickly in our conversation. Yeah, for myself, tomorrow I'm 31 weeks. So in that third trimester feeling, definitely feeling like I also stacked a lot this weekend. I find there's like definitely a cycle that I'm going through of exhaustion and like growth spurts and all of that. And this new moon energy is just like kind of feeling quite dreamy and restful. So I need to lean into that a bit more. And so I feel like you're the perfect person to talk to about that embodied experience. Absolutely. Where did this whole journey with like a somatic business and this approach to the body as a whole in all the work that you do, where did that story begin for you?
Okay, I feel like we have to go all the way back.
Yeah.
All the way back to the beginning. So I think for me, Soft and Flow was born out of me trying to find ways in which to heal my own body. But that's something I've only been recently reflecting on and understanding, because when I do look back and I do reflect, I just realized that actually I think I was just searching for my own healing and my own survival, because when I was young, quite young, I went through a really traumatic experience and ended up with PTSD. So I spent most of my 20s trying to survive that and not really understanding my own body and understanding what I needed to take care of myself. But I think there was something subconscious going on where I was in search of that. So I started looking, and I started off with massage. Massage therapy was, I think, like the beginning for me in terms of linking sort of my mind and my body and trying to connect them again. They were disconnected.
Mm-hmm. And was there someone in that journey? I find oftentimes when we're looking for answers within ourselves, whatever experiences we've kind of gone through, was there someone that caught your attention or kind of inspired you to like follow that path? Or was there a book or something that just kind of sparked a moment for you?
I don't think there was a book. I feel like I this is, am I allowed to say me? Am I allowed to say myself?
Yeah, of course.
I think I just like I just woke up one day and I was like, something needs to change, you know, and I was like, I need to like something needs to share. And like off the top of my head, I can't really remember, but I did start therapy. I started EMDR trauma therapy, and I think through spending that time with my therapist and being with her, I was like starting to understand myself better and like realize that perhaps I definitely needed to make a shift.
I love those internal sparks of like when you wake up and it's just like that clarity moment of like, okay, this is what actually needs to happen. That internal shift. And so, yeah, you can always say that you are the reason. I am my own inspiration.
Yeah, it felt like that, like it was me. But it really was. I think I actually remember I remember the moment where I was like, okay, no, something has to change. I can't continue down this path. And I need support. I need my own support. And I think that's when I started therapy, and then through my therapeutic practice, I then found massage and pole and MCA.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a beautiful tapestry that you've collected of like that massage therapy element as well as the pole dancing with that like umbrella of MCA. How did that vision come to be? Like, at what point were you like you started your massage therapy and then was it pole and then MCA and then you're like, wait, this is all connected, or where was that web?
So I started the massage therapy first, and I done my training. I loved the training and was practicing as a massage therapist. And then I went through like a big life shift, and I was living in North London, and I moved from North to South London. And in South London, I realized there's a pole studio that I've been looking at and had my eye on for a long time, but because I was living in North, it was like almost 2 hours away. I couldn't make it to that particular studio. So then I found myself in South London, and it was just the timing was perfect. It was like I just come out of a long-term relationship. I had time, like so much time on my hands, and I really didn't know who I was. And it was a way for me to find myself again. So I started pole dancing and I fell in love with it. And I think again, it really connected me to my body in a way that I hadn't experienced before. I think through massage and training as a massage therapist, I was learning about the body, but I wasn't learning about my own body and its capabilities and what it was able to do. So through pole, I learned more about myself. And then, so I was pole dancing for a few years before the pandemic hit. And then during the pandemic, I started learning and reading about menstrual cycle awareness. And that's where, that was like the final puzzle piece. But I think even then, I didn't think about bringing and combining everything together. I think I was really focused on coaching and becoming a coach and how that would look. So it took a few years for me to fully really understand what it was I wanted to do with menstrual cycle awareness. And I still feel like it shifts and it changes, but I think now I've started to bring the massage and the pole together, under the umbrella of cycle awareness.
Mm. And what a gift for women everywhere, right? And it's that blending of understanding our bodies, but from that like cyclical perspective. It's just so yummy, and to have it in a format where it's like massage therapy, so it's very like you're receiving that gift from you, and then also from like pole, which typically is seen as like very performative or extroverted, I suppose. I mean, my experience has been very introverted. I haven't done actual pole before, but I've done like the S Factor dancing like during the pandemic, and it was like very similar to like a post breakup. Like I just need to like be in my body and to like learn how to like do like a chair dance, and it was just like so empowering. Like I was so impressed with like how like that sensuality, that sexuality could feel like a fire within me versus like, kind of what you saw growing up of like what pole dancing could be, which is like very like for men, for the male gaze.
Yeah.
What was your journey with that? Like, was there like a surprise for you in that as well? Or was it just, I want to be doing this and this feels right?
So for me with pole, no, not always, sorry. I remember being quite young in my teens and watching pole dancers on YouTube, and I just loved it. I was like really inspired by them, impressed by them. But back then, I was still held back um, because of the fear around being associated with pole dancers and pole dance, sorry, because of the roots of pole dance. So the roots of pole dance comes from stripping, and there's like a stigma in society around stripping. So back then I was too scared to become a pole dancer. So by the time I'd gone through my breakup, etc., I was 30 when I started pole. So by that point, I'd learned so much more about myself and just, I guess, like I just understood that stripping is okay. Like it's like the stigma around it. It's like I unpacked that within myself, and I was like, okay, I feel ready now. Like I feel like I can walk into a pole studio and I understand that, yeah, like the stigma to me is like it's fine. So I think I got to a point where I'm able to sort of celebrate that now. I can celebrate the roots of pole and where they come from, and I don't feel any shame around being associated to pole dancers. Sorry, to strippers. Don't. If anything, it's like I advocate for them, I support them fully, and sort of share. Yeah, it's just like share more about them. And so my journey with pole now is it's more of like a celebration. It's like I celebrate my own sensuality, and I've learned so much more about my own sensuality, the way that I look. I think even before pole dancing, I didn't really like, this sounds crazy, but I didn't really look at myself in the way that I do when I'm in a pole studio. Like when I'm in the pole studio, there's just like you're surrounded by mirrors, you're constantly looking at your body, not really wearing many clothes, and I fully see myself. So I had to really get used to that as well. And I think when I started pole, I had so many like limited beliefs about myself and my abilities and what I could do and what I was capable of because I was 30 as well. So I told myself that I was too old, I wasn't strong enough, I wasn't sexy enough. And every time I'd go to the pole studio, these fears would come up, and I just had to just continue working through them, continue working through them. And I'd say it took a few months before those voices like slowed down and quieted down. And yeah, like, for me now, like it's not about the male gaze. I don't think it ever was. It was just more about finding confidence, working out who I was, tapping into my own creativity, sensuality, and also getting out of my head and into my body because I was going through a breakup, and it was just breakups are horrible, weren't they? Really. So it was like I just need some space in my mind, and I think getting into my body is really important for me.
I think that's such a beautiful piece of pole dancing and what it's becoming or what it seems to be becoming. It's like such a reclamation of like womanhood and like our bodies. And of course, it's like not about the male gaze at all. I mean, depending on like obviously like for strippers, there is like that cash exchange. Love that for them. Get it. But for women, like in doing it just for exercise or just for like themselves, there is that like big celebration of, like you said, like looking in the mirror and seeing your body and like challenging it. And like, I mean, on your Instagram, the videos you post, I'm like, oh my God, wow, she's a fairy. She's just like fully stretched out on the pole. I'm like, wow, she's upside down. She's like doing all these amazing things. But it is so empowering. It is like such a beautiful reminder of like those pieces that we learned at like cycle coach school or just in MCA in general, of like the pieces that we're taught to like almost hide or be ashamed of by maybe our patriarchal society or whatever we want to call it. And it's just like, yeah, I just love how they're so like tied in together that like we can take back pole dancing, we can take back like wearing as little clothes as possible, and like it just being for us and like our like womb space and our blood and all these things. It's just, yeah, it's so magical.
I agree.
I would love to hear more about your offering that I saw you sharing about, the Embody the Cycle, where you connect pole dancing and MCA. How did that come to be, and what is it?
So Embody the Cycle is a workshop series, and I release one workshop every season. So I release one workshop every season, but it I can do the workshop more than once, but it's the same workshop, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to do them seasonally. So they're based around obviously the menstrual cycle and the seasons of each cycle. So at the moment we are in spring. So Embody the Cycle Part 3 is related to inner spring. And the goal for this workshop and all of the Embody the Cycle workshops, the goal is to bring awareness to students, to pole students, because I live in a cyclical way now, and I've been doing that since I trained at cycle coach school. And for me, the way that I pole dance and the way that I pole train, it's sort of become second nature now to apply everything I've learned cyclically to my training. And I just find that the knowledge is so rich and it's just so useful to me to know where I am in my cycle, to know what different energies, how they like show up for me whilst I'm in the studio. I can recognize that within myself and in certain ways that I move, in my rest and my recovery, in just the way that I take care of myself when I pole dance and when I teach. And I just realized that this work is so vital. So I decided to create workshops to share the knowledge, and they're 2-hour workshops. So they're broken down into two parts. So the first part, it's like the discussion part. So we sort of sit together and we discuss the cycle, the season. We look at the qualities of each season. And we just have it's a bit more of like an in-depth, like 101, like menstrual cycle 101. And it offers the students a space to discuss their cycles, because I feel like there just aren't many spaces to do that in general. And I take them through like the learnings, and we just have a bit of like a back and forth, and they can ask me questions and they can learn more about this particular season. And then we get onto the pole in the second half of the cycle, and we work with an archetype, because I feel like working with archetypes in the pole studio is a really good way to work with them and to connect with the cycle, because like you said, pole dancing is performative, and whether you're a teacher, a student, a stripper, you can use the archetypes, So yeah, that's Embody the Cycle, and they have been received quite well. I feel like it is still quite niche. um,
Yeah.
but I do have a small community that's slowly building and slowly growing. And for me, I think starting off intimately makes a lot of sense with this work, because it is intimate work within itself. And a lot of the students that come to the workshops, it's the first time they've explored cycle awareness. So I think intimacy makes, like in an intimate group, makes a lot of sense. But yeah, they're being received pretty well.
Yeah. And what are the like comments or the reactions you're seeing amongst your students to this like new approach to pole?
So the feedback I'm receiving is mainly around the fact that they don't have any idea about cycle awareness. So it's like the first time that they're hearing about anything cycle related. So it's mainly around, how can I explain? I don't know if you remember when you first learned about cycle awareness, but for me, I was just like in awe of it, and I was shocked. It was quite shocking. I was like, I didn't know anything about this, and that's basically what the feedback's like. It's like I didn't know this existed. I didn't know this is what was happening in my body every cycle, and actually, I've had quite a few repeat students come back, because I'm doing them seasonally, so I think they want to know more about each season. So yeah, I would say shock, shock and awe, which is great,
Yeah.
But
One of the
also they're able to apply it. You can apply the knowledge to to your pole practice. And one of my friends, so someone who came to my last workshop is a friend of mine as well, and they are constantly like messaging me, and they're just living more aligned already within their cycle. They're constantly messaging me and like picking up on more things now, and like amending their classes depending on their energy levels, and it's just really nice to witness, actually.
And it's such a beautiful reminder too in this work. Sometimes I'm sure you find it so well, maybe you're in like an echo chamber sometimes, like, you past alumni and friends, and you're like, everyone's talking about this. And then you go to like the real world and you share this like cyclical magic, and they're like, what are you talking about? And I do remember that like moment of realization of just being like, wait, does this explain my
Yeah.
whole life and existence? Weird. Why isn't this common knowledge?
Yeah. And I think that's it. I am in such an echo chamber that um I forget that I'm in an echo chamber as well, because I just talk so freely and openly about the cycle. And as a pole dance teacher, at the beginning of every class, I always ask, like, is there anything you need to know, like how are the energy levels, and if I'm bleeding, or if I'm in my luteal phase, or if I'm bleeding, I will acknowledge it, and I will just say, because I want them to know that it's like a space where you can discuss, you can discuss that. And I think it's like cycle aware teachers and facilitators, I think, are important.
And that even beyond, like you said, even beyond this Embody the Cycle specific workshop, just like entering any space and being like, this is where I am, and this is how my body's feeling. This is where I am cyclically, especially when you are doing more like embodied practices like pole dancing, that your body will perform differently depending where you are in the cycle. And it's not necessarily that you're going to like sync your classes to it 100% of the time, but just being able to acknowledge that, to be like, okay, like I'm bleeding, so I don't know, I might not want to be upside down today, or if I am, it might not look as pretty as like when I'm ovulating, because I just don't have the strength or the mental capacity to like hold and spin. I don't know, does that feel like, does that
Yeah,
resonate?
yeah, 100%. That's what the work is about, but it's also about compassion, like self-compassion as well, because I think in studio spaces, I don't I only pole dance. I don't do any other style of dancing, but I imagine in other like studios or fitness studios, but especially with dancing, I think there's like a level of comparison with like other people, but also yourself, because I often hear a lot of students say things like, "Oh, I could do this last week," or "I was able to perform this a couple of weeks ago. Why can't I get this now? What's going on?" And I don't want to assume that everybody has like a cycle, so I don't say it in that moment, but I often think to myself, maybe it could be cycle related. So it's about bringing just like I think the awareness is like the key point. It's like once you are aware and you sort of understand that your body goes through these processes, and that's like a starting point, you can learn so much more
It
about
is
your
such
body and yourself.
Yeah, it is the foundation of everything. I think sometimes, I mean, women, but everyone included, like when you learn something new, you're like, and I'm going to do it perfectly, and I'm going to learn everything that I have to do, and it's going to be like, boop, 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 boop. This is what I have to do every day to be like cyclically aligned. And it's like, no, how can we just like wake in the morning and be aware of like how we're feeling and how do we meet ourselves? And I used to dance, but I haven't recently, but I know even just going to the gym and like weightlifting, there are moments where you're why is the weight so light? Like, why am I feeling like what? Or just like losing count of like where you are, what workout you're doing. You're like, where am I? It's like, oh my God, you're in your luteal phase or you're bleeding or whatever it might be. It's just like that patience we can have, that grace we can have. It's the biggest lesson, really.
For
Mm.
sure. And even, yeah, it's like as you were speaking then, I was thinking about often get my words jumbled when I'm in like certain phases and I'm like teaching. And I just like, I'm sorry, I'm premenstrual brain today. And it just, yeah, it gives you that space to just be a bit more human.
And to like show our clients that we're not perfect just because we studied this, or like,
Yeah.
we're certified, so now we're like living perfectly. It's like, no, our brains are still going to go out the window. Like, especially like, in this pregnancy, that's like a whole other like world where like I'm definitely feeling like I'm just like in my luteal phase some days, where I'm just like, what are we doing? Where are we? Like that brain. um Being able to like show that to our clients, and to be able to put words to it, to explain like, this is where I am, and I'm not apologizing for it, just need to tell you, and they can learn to start doing the same for themselves. It's wonderful. I'm wondering if we can talk a bit about your trauma informed lens that you mentioned on your website, and I've seen just in the work that you post. I think you kind of alluded to it at the start. But
Yeah.
what's your story there with grief, and how is that kind of weaving into the work that you do?
So my story is a very tragic one, which I do want to just note, like give a little trigger warning around violence. So if anybody wants to like skip ahead.
Yeah, we'll put a little warning at the top of the episode too.
Yeah. Okay. So when I was 21, I lost my younger brother to a violent attack and his life was taken. He was only 17 at the time, and it was horrific and traumatic. So that was the first time it's the first time I've experienced a big loss through from someone that I love so dearly. And it meant that I ended up with PTSD because it was so violent that my body just ended up becoming completely traumatized. So as I was saying at the start of the podcast, I think a lot of my work was me just trying to survive and trying to survive that incident, basically, and learning just more about my body, and what my body needs and how I need to take care of myself so I can live with trauma but manage it, because I went for so much of my life not managing it and actually sort of sabotaging a lot of my early like 20s. So I've been doing, I would say I've been doing this work for over a decade, but I've also been like surviving as well. And I think through the survival, what am I trying to say? I feel like my trauma informed lens is through just my life, the way that I've lived my life and the way that I've survived. I did also do an amazing course actually by the School of Radical Healing, and that was learning more about, trauma informed approaches as like a practitioner. But I think I would say a lot of it is through just my lived experience actually, and just surviving that incident that I went through. And then also losing my dad a couple of years ago as well, which is it just sort of compounded on top of the grief that have already experienced and I'm already feeling. And then I realized that actually as I continue life, this is what's going to happen now. It is really important that I do take care of myself and I do understand. And I think I'm in a really good place with it actually now. And I'm really, I'm supported, and I have so many tools in my toolbox to take care of myself. So
What's your
yeah,
favorite tool? Like, what's the one that you keep coming back to the most?
so many. I'm gonna say menstrual cycle awareness. It is it is cycle awareness for me. I think that and pole dancing combined, they're the two that I always come back to. Pole is just, it feels like complete freedom for me. It's like a time when I don't really have to think. I'm completely in my body. I'm in a flow. I'm either learning something new. I'm either attempting a trick that I know and love, and it just feels really good to move in that way. I'm either holding space for other people, if whether that's through my workshops or through my classes, which is really fulfilling. Or I'm just having fun, So that's pole. And then with cycle awareness, I think I always come back to it because it has just become an anchor now for me. I need to know where I am in my cycle because I'm so connected to what that means for me mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. So I don't I don't like to be disconnected from myself. Like I'm just not disconnected from it anymore. Like I connect with it. I think without even realizing sometimes. Sometimes I have like little rituals that I do. I just constantly like acknowledging it. Like I said before, the awareness piece is huge for me. Just having the awareness that it's like there can anchor me into any moment if I need it.
Yeah, what a beautiful relationship to have is the one with our physical bodies, right? To get us through, as you said, the inevitable ups and downs of life. You know, that you're like, we're in it now. It's
Yeah.
things are gonna come up, and they're just such beautiful tools and gifts to have in your arsenal to like drop back in and to take care of yourself.
And I think the experience of going through something like that so young, I've I wouldn't want to go through that at any point in my life, but I think because it has been so long now that it's just been like present and there for me, it is it's made me a better practitioner. It's made me a better massage therapist. It's made me a better pole teacher because I understand safety. Like I think safety was like a big one for me, and being diagnosed with PTSD and understanding like how that showed up for me and what that meant. And it's just like I didn't feel safe for like the longest time. So now I feel safer and I'm able to provide that for other people. And it's almost like I can. So when, for example, when a massage therapist client comes in, see, I can see things that I recognize. Obviously, not everybody that comes to me is diagnosed with PTSD, but there's like so many things that we all deal with every day. So I see clients come in, and it's almost like I just know what they need.
Mm.
Like I offer them a consultation form, and we sit and we talk and discuss because I'm trained as a holistic massage therapist. So we look at the person as a whole, but a lot of it feels intuitive because I feel like I recognize sometimes myself in them and what I perhaps couldn't get or what I wasn't able to sort of access when I was younger. And I think to myself, like, who did I need when I was younger? What did I need when I was that 21-year-old that had just been diagnosed? That's the practitioner, and that's like the person that I want to become. It's like the person that I didn't have. So yeah, I think it's like all of my work is based around that tragic event. And obviously I'd love to have my brother here and we'll never go through that again. But I feel like if something comes out of it, it's just the fact that like I've been able to offer myself to others and create safety, healing, and a space like a soft, a soft landing for people to be. I
Soft
think,
and flow.
yeah.
Like love
Softness
now.
and safety.
It's such a superpower to have as well, to be so intuitive, as you said, from your own past and your own story, to be able to see someone come into your space and just maybe they aren't even aware of what's happening in their body, and you can read that from them. Has your grief changed over the last 10 plus years?
Say I'm no longer scared of my grief.
Mm.
So when my brother first passed away, because it was so violent, I was so scared. I was scared of everyone and everything. Like I didn't even want to leave my house. Because I didn't know that was possible. Like you watch true crime or you hear news articles and you just think that would never happen to me. And then it happens and suddenly everything changes and the world just became so cold and so dark and so violent. So I was just scared. And I was also scared of feeling my emotion because it was so heavy and it felt so big. I didn't know what it meant. I was like, what does this mean now that that's happened to somebody that I love? I've never had to deal with like the justice system before. We had to deal with media and like stories that were made up about him, and it was just awful. So I didn't know how to feel, and I didn't know how to like process anything. And over the course, well, I say it's not even 10 years; it's longer now. It's about 14 years, I think. So over the course of the 14, no, the 16 years. Over the course of the 16 years, I've learned how to feel my emotions, feel my grief, be able to sit with it, be able to hold it, and just yeah, not run away from it now. I just let it come, and yeah, I let it come, and I let it move through me, and I trust myself, and I know that I have my own back, but also I know that I'm supported, which is I think when I was younger, I didn't because I didn't understand what I needed and I didn't understand what I was going through. I didn't know how to get support, so I felt completely alone, and I turned to alcohol and drugs. Whereas now I don't turn to alcohol and drugs. I turn to my therapist or my friends or my whole community, and not necessarily to hold my grief, but to, like I'll go to my pole community to find joy. I'll go to my therapist to offload my grief. I'll go to my friends to maybe do a bit of both.
Yeah.
And then I'll go to my toolbox of my healing of like, yeah, going to the sauna or um meditating or journaling, like all of these things that just help me in the ways that I need.
Mm. Yeah, to be held by others, even if they're not actively, not fixing is not the right word, but if they're not actively like discussing your grief, just sometimes being in that community space is so transformative.
Yeah, I think I didn't realize that I always thought that I needed people to understand my grief and understand the pain that I was in, and if they don't understand it, they don't know me. But I've learned that actually I don't always have to show up as the pain and the grief, and I can show up as Dayna, and that's fine, and they will love me either way, which has been really helpful to understand as well.
Yeah, that's beautiful. What was his name, if you don't mind me asking?
His name was Chevon, so we called him Chev.
What was your favorite thing about him?
His dimples. He had dimples and they were so cute. So his dimples, but also just his, like, we were very similar. He was quite shy and he was quite timid. He was like, he had like a quiet confidence about him, you know. He didn't have to like take up all the space and be the loudest in the room, but he was like, you kind of knew he was there. But he was like quiet and calm and just a little bit shy, which was very cute, and like loved his music. And yeah, we were very similar in that way.
He sounds like a wonderful person.
He was.
What do you think he would think of your business now, and like just everything you've, not even your business, like just your life, like everything you've done, just you were so
I think he would be proud of me. I think he would be. Yeah, I think he would support me, and he would probably ask me for free massages.
like any
Uh,
brother would, yeah.
yeah, and there's a part of me that feels like he would probably ask me to teach him how to pole dance as well. He's very active and strong, and like he took care of himself physically as well. Like, he was 17 when he died, and he was like just starting to go to the gym and like starting to take care about his appearance in that way. And he was he had weights in his bedroom, so, and he was quite buff, you know. He was strong, he had muscles, and I
You'd be well
I feel like, yeah, I remember when we were younger, we used to climb a lot. We'd climb trees in our back garden, and we had this like shed thing that we'd climb on and jump off of. So like we were always really active together, and
Yeah.
I feel like I could just see us doing that together, you know, like me teaching him how to do a handspring or something.
Sounds like he's just like so woven into like, well, he is woven into the fabric of everything you've created because he's the
Yeah,
reason for it all, right?
yeah, definitely.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for asking. I feel like those types of questions are avoided quite often. I think people fear asking out of fear that they will upset someone, but actually it's been really nice to be able to just speak about him and think about those things, because I do think about them sometimes, but I don't ever get to talk about them and express how he might thought about my work. And so, yeah, thank you for asking.
Yeah, I think that's the best way we can remember and honor those that we've lost, is just like keeping them a part of our lives. And I think that's can be the scary part about grief sometimes, is there's like so like you're feeling so much that I think sometimes it's easier to disconnect from the body and shut everything down, versus like if you don't meet that like pain and that grief, then you also don't get to have the joy of like, oh, they would find this really funny, or
Yeah.
they would want to be a part of my business in this way, or they would just like cheer me on in this way, or if it's a brother, they would probably make fun of me in this way, tease me for doing this.
Yeah.
If he's anything like my brothers, it's just he'd be like, pole dancing, I don't want to see that. Don't look then. Ah, so what feels like what's next for you in this business? Like, who are you hoping to attract? What impact are you hoping to leave with this gorgeous work that you're doing?
I feel like I just want to keep going and growing. I think I I only have myself to rely on, you know. Like, I work full time, I teach my classes part time, and massage is also part time. So I feel like I'm juggling a lot of things, and I have to really take care of myself in order to facilitate for others and to be present and to be a good facilitator for others. So with that in mind, I know that the growth will be slow, but I think I'm okay with that. And I think as long as I'm moving in a direction, um, yeah, as long as I'm moving in a direction, I'll be happy. And I think I'm going to keep going with the workshops. They bring me so much joy. I'm also want to keep going with the massage therapy, and I would love to expand that one day and be able to work more as a massage therapist. And I think, yeah, I think I just want to attract people who menstruate. So that's anybody, anyone who has a menstrual cycle is welcome to work with me. And I think anybody who's open to this work as well, because I know not everybody is there yet. So that's why I just want to keep going with it, because I think I remember when I first heard the word cyclical, it was probably 5, maybe 6 years before I learned about menstrual cycle awareness. And I remember rolling my eyes when I heard that word. But so I saw it on Instagram and I rolled my eyes, but I also saved the post, or I followed the page at the same time. And I think a part of me was like, I'm not ready for this. But the other part of me was like, I know this is coming and I know that I will be ready at one point, at some point. So I'm also there for those people as well. You know, I'm like, will be there when they're ready. But yeah, I think pole dancers, obviously, I'm open to like pole dancers, but also people who don't pole dance. I think I want to expand and do workshops for people who don't pole dance and are just cyclical and they want to learn more about their cyclical nature. And also, I'm a person of color, and I think for me as well, like what I was saying about safety and like the world that we live in and like the rise of fascism, and I just want to hold everyone close, you know, and just create spaces where we can exhale and have a couple hours away from all of that, you know. Um, but yeah, mainly anyone who has a menstrual cycle and is open to the work and open to learning more about themselves and bodies, for sure.
Yeah, I really resonate with that and resonate with what you're saying about that slow growth. I think it can be hard sometimes, especially in like this is still like a very new industry as much as like we hear a lot about it. And so really like seeing you in that season because I feel that so deeply where it's just like you want it to like explode or I don't really want it to explode, but you know, whatever. But then like slowness of like slowly pulling people like into your web and being like, okay, like this is what we're going to learn. This is what we're going to expand into and just like inviting, as you said, everyone with a menstrual cycle, but also everyone who doesn't have a menstrual cycle. Cause I've encountered many men who are like, this sounds really nice.
Yeah,
Come on down. You can join us.
yeah, exactly. The work it is for everyone. So it's really hard to sort of articulate who it's for, but I feel like my work is for anybody. That's why I think I was like anyone who's open to it, you know, and anybody who may not be yet.
Yeah. What do you hope people feel when they hear your story or hear about your business? What are you hoping will land most?
I feel like it's important for me to talk about my brother and his story and the way that he died and how it affected me, because I want people to understand that I still deal with that every day. I still live with trauma. I still live with PTSD, but I manage it. And these are the ways in which I manage it. And I'm not having perfect periods and cycles, not having my existence isn't just like wrapped up in like a perfect little bow. It's like I've been through some real adversity and I've had to like dig and claw my way to get to where I am today. And I think I want people to just feel that it is possible, because I think back then I didn't have very many people to turn to. I didn't know anyone that was going through what I was going through. Social media just wasn't as popular. It wasn't really as big back then. So there were a few people online that I could follow, but they didn't seem very relatable. And I think I just needed someone like me who was like, well, this is, life has happened and it's been really hard, but you can get yourself to a more like balanced place. So I'd say I find more balance in my life now, but it's far from perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think maybe hope. Hope, is that
Mhm.
what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like hope, if you're going through something, there is like hope that you can
And just a
maybe
beautiful,
get through it, you know?
yeah, beautiful, hopeful image of, as you said, like life. It's moving through life and existing and
Yeah.
showing up and continuing to like drop back into your body and being a beautiful example that like no one is perfect. Like even if they put that image out onto social media, whatever. Um, and so I think it's
For
just like
sure.
so beautifully approachable and yeah, it's only a matter of time before more and more people find you. And I hope they do.
Me too.
Before we wrap up, I'd love to ask you one more question, which is, what book are you reading right now? Or what book have you read recently that...
Oh, do you know what I'm reading? Actually, I've been meaning to for a really long time, but I just never have. Women Who Run with Wolves.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
Yeah, it's been on my list for a long time. And I actually went to a friend's house recently and it was on her bookshelf and I mentioned it. She was like, I'll just take it. I'm not reading it. So it's quite thick and I don't read often. It will probably take me a while, but I've decided it's my summer book. So I've only just started reading it, like literally like a few pages in. But yes, Women Who Run with Wolves. That's what I'm reading at the moment.
Amazing.
Have you read it?
I haven't read it in its entirety because it is chunky.
Yes.
It's one of those ones I feel like, and especially, yeah, with like books like that, I do like to like pick them up and then like place them down and then come back when I can like have more capacity. I feel like you kind of grow with them a little bit.
I think so. I think that might be the case with this one, but I'm looking forward to it. And there's like so many amazing reviews.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful book. Well, thank you so much for carving out time to chat with us. And
Thank you.
yeah, we'll include some information at the end too, where they can find you, and we'll have show notes and all that wonderful stuff.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Cycle Coach Show. If you loved what you heard, then please review, share, and subscribe to help us reach more cyclical listeners like you. You can find us on Instagram at Cycle Coach School or online at cyclecoachtraining.com.